AEW Double or Nothing 2021 is in the books, and y'all, I got to tell you, I thought it was a great show. What did you think? What did you think tonight? Man, I'll tell you what, is just in general, it felt like that was something we sorely needed. It just had an amazing vibe right from the start. So great to see a live audience, a live crowd, fucking crowds. No digitized, piped in bullshit Thunderdome crap, like actual live human beings packed in there. The energy was great. The fans marked out for literally everything they saw. The fans are the sixth man tonight. This show, I think, would have been good with, even without them, but it really makes you appreciate how important a live crowd reaction is with everything we saw here. And I think the fans really brought this show up. Is even better than it might have been if it was, in the typical pandemic setting that we've been seeing. So I think they hit a home run tonight. We're going to dissect it, of course, as we go match by match. Wasn't all good, a couple of slow moments here or there, but overall, like I said, I think they hit a home run, and it's a great way just to make a statement saying we're back in business. The crowd was there, having a good time. Energy was high. Vibe was good. Positive all the way around. Lucky for them. Looked like the weather did cooperate. It looked ridiculously hot like it always is this time of year in Florida and the Southeast in general. But at least they avoided any crazy storm coming through and blowing their set to shit like WrestleMania had to deal with. So it's like all of the stars kind of aligned for them tonight. The talent seemed to be a little bit more like invested, a little more pep in their step maybe than usual. I saw about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 separate reactions that you could tell as the wrestlers were making their entrance. It was like getting to them, a little bit. I think Hikaru Shida and I think Serena Deeb as well, kind of just, they kind of was like taken back by it. They're like, holy shit, it's been a while since I've heard this. And they're so full of energy and so full of life. It was a pretty, just great atmosphere. And it was just like an omen. It was brewing, it was in the air. You could feel that barring some crazy tragedy or some crazy just fucked up situation happening, they were going to put on a good show tonight. I think all the talent was, no pun intended, all in. And they all went out there, busted their ass, gave us a great show. And it was definitely a nice looking set. I like the way they had everything configured. I've always said that about AEW. Just give me something that I don't see on the other channel. And just the way they kind of set everything up, they do have a different vibe from WWE, all the way down to their pre-match or kickoff show video packages, hype packages, and shit like that. They're done so well. The WWE hype packages are so flashy and animated, and there's so much production going on, but really the substance in it isn't that good. With AEW, they're interviewing Shivani and Jim Ross and Excalibur about all these situations, and they're helping getting the stories over. It's so much better of a presentation. So the little things that they do like that set them apart from Vince, I think really helps and really just gives you a nice, like I said yesterday in the podcast, like how can anybody root against another North American wrestling company. Like, how fucking foolish of that is that of a wrestling fan to actually hope for failure here? We need this shit, man. So I was happy to see, what they were able to pull off here tonight. They're about to hit the road back to this summer, and things will start getting back to normal. But just having the fans back, I think there's going to be a really cool honeymoon period there with AEW and WWE fans when they first get back into the arenas. They're going to be jacked, wired, ready to rock and roll, and we definitely saw that tonight. And I'll tell you what, you got to wonder if Vince, July 16th is a long way away. It's still nearly 2 months away. Well, a month and a half now, as it's about to be June on Tuesday. But, still a month and a half away. That's a long time off. I wouldn't be surprised, based on the reaction and the fans at this show, if WWE doesn't try to do something earlier, or maybe if they bump it up a couple more weeks, maybe they go July 1st, or maybe they try to bust out a couple of shows with fans ahead of the July 16th date. Otherwise, they still got to do that Thunderdome shit for a while, and I think that's going to be tough for them to do now after seeing what AEW did here tonight. But in general, it's also good just to see that, because a year ago, we were just kicking off the summer and times were bad. We were just really getting started in the pandemic. Shit was a mess. I was out of work. We couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. You didn't even know what the future held. You couldn't find toilet paper. It was crazy out there. Here we are a year later. Most people who have a fucking brain inside their skulls are getting vaccinated. People are being safe, and the world at least our country here, is slowly starting to reopen state by state, city by city, and shit like that. And just to see that tonight and see everybody out there happy, and I saw some masks, out there still. I think if everybody just continues to kind of do that, we can phase out the masks, at some point. I know we're going to be doing that here in California. So it was just good in general to see that, to feel that. I know the NBA and NHL have had some full houses lately. That's been just, it almost just gives you like a comforting feeling, like, okay, the world isn't fucking ending. This is kind of cool. So it was just good to see that here in wrestling form, because we've needed it. We've missed it now over a year of, just a very strange product for both companies due to the pandemic. So having them come back and get off on the right foot here, you couldn't have asked for a better start. They set the tone right on the kickoff. Big props to Serena Deeb and Riho for just having a kick-ass match. The fans helped because they were so happy to see an in-ring match again, but that was just really special. And you literally could not have asked for a better start to the night or to the whole deal than what those two ladies did, early on in the show there, before the main card even started. So felt good, felt real good to see this stuff again, and it was just a good vibe. It was in the air all night long, and tomorrow we have to get back to business, and we'll be up here reviewing what I expect to be a very, very crappy 3-hour Monday Night Raw in the fucking Thunderdome, so that'll be a hoot. But anyway, I'll cruise over here to the chat. Let's see what kind of audience we do tonight. I know everybody's up on YouTube, so we'll see. Knock out some of these super chats, and then we'll get into the results. In terms of my predictions, looks like I kind of changed my predictions today. After I did my predictions yesterday, I realized I had like a ton of heels winning, and I knew I had a couple of matches wrong. I knew there was something about that Bucks and Mox and Eddie match. I picked the Young Bucks yesterday in the video, but then today I was like, I feel like maybe Mox and Eddie should win because I need some more baby faces, because yesterday I picked the Pinnacle in the Stadium Stampede. Of course, I got that wrong, and I said as much. As I'm probably going to get this wrong. There's not many people picking the Pinnacle. I just kind of thought maybe for storyline purposes, that would be the better story to establish them as no effing joke. Maybe Jericho does a tour with Fozzy, gets the arm fixed. Maybe Proud and Powerful can hit the tag team division and actually contend for the titles now. Sammy Guevara has kind of teased that he has title aspirations, and he was a big star here tonight. And I kind of thought that would be a good way to send them off on their own. But if you do a victory here, maybe the shit continues, or maybe you get a third rubber match here or something like that. But it turned out to be, I'm really happy with the outcome here, because I think what happened is Inner Circle, they were at a crossroads here. They're at a point where they were either going to lose this match and disband forever and go off on their own, or they're going to kind of cement themselves now with this victory, staying together in an impressive manner in which they did. I think, like, when you look back years down the line, if AEW is still around in 20 or 25 years, you're going to look back at the Inner Circle as a building block of this whole entire company, in terms of their early days and, how important the Inner Circle was, where if they would have just disbanded tonight, yeah, they would have still been very important. People would have remembered them fondly, but we also would have remembered when they ended and they were done and everything. Now they get to continue, to roll, and they're going to be like, they might be what, even though the Pinnacle kind of mimics the Horsemen, Inner Circle might be as important to AEW as the Horsemen ultimately were for NWA and WCW. So I think that all was kind of cemented here with the victory, and I'm actually perfectly fine with Inner Circle getting the win here, even though I kind of predicted it wrong. And if I'm writing things, maybe I'm not booking this match this way. I might go in a different direction, but that's why I'm not in charge. I'm glad they did it this way. Very cool stuff. I had a goddamn heart attack when they were propelling down from the scoreboard during their entrance. It definitely looked like half of this match was taped and live. We kind of knew that. That was reported earlier this week. So I think a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, the shit with Urban Meyer, MJF going through the glass door, all that stuff they did was probably pre-taped, even with the entrances and all the stuff they did in the field, in the football field, and then they came out in the end and finished it in the ring. And we speculated on that yesterday that they were probably going to do like the backlot brawl at WrestleMania 12, do half of it pre-taped, finish it in the ring in front of the live audience, and that's what they did. But I didn't even see it going the way it did with the finish with Sammy beating Shawn Spears. That was a big win for him, and that's going to propel him right into that TNT title territory, you would think. So good stuff there all around. I just overall I thought the card was quite nice. Jungle Boy too, loved that moment, and I was tweeting it as he was winning. But the final three in that Casino Battle Royale was Christian, Matt Hardy, and Jungle Boy. And I'm like, they should put Jungle over here. Matt Hardy and Christian, these two veterans, to me, they would be more than willing and more than happy to put this kid over. But then, I still picked Christian. Oh, that was the other match I got wrong. The Battle Royal. I picked Christian or whoever the surprise was, which turned out to be Lio Rush, which was also cool. But in the end, they surprised me, and Jungle Boy eliminated Christian, winning that. So that was awesome. Got a lot of good ratings over here. We got a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 so far. A's and B's, 9 out of 10, all the way around. I don't know if you guys watched it or purchased it or whatever. Well worth the $49.99. It's never fun to spend money, $50 on a pay-per-view or whatever. But, one thing I will credit AEW with is they seem to appreciate the significance of a pay-per-view. People are paying money. WWE with the network and Peacock now, and the way their pay-per-view system pretty much went away in 2014, they can phone them in if they want. They've phoned in a bunch. Most of the time the talent is so damn good over there that the matches are always good and the pay-per-views are usually a lot better than the TVs. But they can phone stuff in. They just throw pay-per-views together 2 weeks ahead of time. They just throw this shit at you with no meaning, no purpose, no nothing. AEW, they're a little bit more infrequent, and they understand that the customer is paying for this. And so far, since they've been in business and since I've spent $50, I don't think I've regretted it once. Maybe close to one time. If I had to do it again, maybe I wouldn't have bought it. Maybe, but that's the worst of it. For the most part, they come through on pay-per-view, and every time we do one of these, I say, I paid $49.99, and I'd paid $51.99. I'm perfectly happy with the price. It was fine. It was worth it. It was fun. And I think, these shows can be, the AEW and the talent are going to make sure, that these shows are good, because this isn't on Peacock. This is $50 a pop, unless you want to cheat, like whoever the guy in the chat said that said he watched it on YouTube. But as a company that I'm kind of rooting for, filled with a whole bunch of people I like and respect, I'm more than happy to support them. So, they, I think they are likely to come through more often than not on pay-per-view, and they proved it here. So anyway, we'll try not to suck AEW's dick too much, because, they are AEW sometimes, but then again, this was overall a really good show. I'll have some fun things to say about Cody, Battle Royal stuff. Yeah, it'll be a hoot. Anyway, good to see you in here, Steven, and Population 420. Appreciate the $2. Ouch, this pay-per-view is $50. Is Daniel Bryan going to AEW? I don't think he is. Even if there is no New Japan and WWE deal, which Tony Khan says it is not. And when Tony Khan wears sunglasses and tells you it's not, it's not. But I don't think Daniel Bryan going there is very likely, although he could. But no, he didn't show up tonight. He wasn't part of any sort of surprise or battle royal or nothing else. Good to see you, Zane G and Alan and Dre and Nate and Joseph and Isaiah, Chris Sanchez and Atomic Cody. Deshaun's in the house. Jason Barlow, 10 out of 10. Holy shit. Sonny Ken Maynard, 8.5 out of 10. Nigel Moxley. K-Dogs, Kennel, what's going on, man? Good to see you, too. Kyle is here. Young South Way Network. Space Casey, Victor Colon, and Thomas Arita with $5 coming in. Good pay-per-view tonight. Very much needed, and AEW needed these crowds back. It's going to be hard to watch anything until WWE until July, and that's one thing that worries me, and we talked about this yesterday, is that with the crowd now set in their minds of July 16th, unless they, like I said earlier, if they view it here and they want to do something earlier, I feel like they're going to tread water. They're going to feed us bullshit until July 16th. And it's just, if they're not feeding us enough already as it is, now they're going to warm the bullshit up in a microwave and just make us drink it through a straw. It's going to be lovely. But I am waiting for that July date because it's the only thing that's going to save us, to be honest. But we'll see. They might do something earlier based on tonight. Glad to see Space Casey really likes it as well. Yeah, Sting, another pleasant surprise here. Holy shit, did Sting look good. Dazzled me, reminded me of when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat blew our fucking minds at WrestleMania 25. And then again, like the next night, the next month on pay-per-view. It's kind of like the same thing. I was not expecting Sting to be out there doing that. I was expecting him to move around like Stu Hart, and Sting is the man. You know why? Because Sting's a pro, and the all-time greats know their bodies better than the people who are judging them. I know that's crazy to think, but it's true. Good to see as well. Mike McGee, thanks for the $2. Nice to see Mark Henry in AEW. Another big surprise. Mark Henry was there. So was Leo Rush. Martin Can, appreciate the 5 from you, and good to see you, and welcome back. Hey, Greg, hope you're well. It's 5 a.m. Damn, I know, and it's after midnight on the East Coast. It's only 9:20 here. 5 a.m. here in the UK, and I loved every bit of Dynamite, or Double or Nothing, 9 out of 10, and I end the night watching you. Perfect. Man, well, thanks for staying up super late. The sun's going to be coming up where you are soon, and my night's just beginning, because after this review, I've got to finish up some editing to give you guys a special video this week, probably Tuesday morning. So thanks for staying up, man, and good morning to you, I guess, and thanks for always being here. Exactly one bad match. Yeah, I agree. 7.5 out of 10. Fair. Definitely fair. I can appreciate a 7.5. Randy, good to see you. Initially, I had Pinnacle winning too, but I'm happy for Sammy. He needed a signature win for the longest time. He has gotten better and better and better. He was cool. It was cool. He got a memorable win. I agree. He needed that, especially when they seem to be into him, and he kind of teased that he wants to go after championships. So that's a win that was needed. It didn't do any harm to anybody else like MJF or whatever. It was a perfect finish. Here I'm thinking it was going to be focused on Jericho and MJF, and they kind of went in another direction, and I like that better. Deshaun Robinson, welcome back. Appreciate 3 from you. Always happy to have you here. Inner Circle went Shawn Michaels Mania 12 entrance. I know, it was even gnarlier because they were coming down like outside, and I don't know, it looked like whichever one it was. I think it was Jericho. One of them was fucking moving. Like he almost like lost control or something. It was giving me a heart attack because we know who I'm thinking of in my head. So it's like, oh my God, it was freaking me out. But, that shit is safe. They fucking, handle it. But man, I wouldn't do it. I'd be up there shit. If I was just a wrestler and I happened to be in Inner Circle and they're like, we're going to propel down. I'm like, well, I'm going to be down on the ground waiting for y'all to propel down. I'll be down there. I'll have chips and sodas waiting for you. But y'all could suck it not doing that. No regrets dropping 50. Me neither. Yo, Greg. What's up, Michael Kumo? Yo, Greg. I work Sunday night, so I can't watch these pay-per-view events. That sucks, man. I had to do those days so often. Really have to bend over backwards back in my younger days to try to be available on Sunday nights to be off and stuff. So I know the feeling, man. But eventually you'll get to a point where you can watch these things. I promise it happens. Joseph Smith, thanks for 2 from you, and welcome back. Any reason AEW is going with Sunday night pay-per-views? I don't know why, because they announced a date for Full Gear, which is going to be way ahead of November, but that's a Sunday. I think it said Sunday, November 6th, I think, is what they announced. So I'll have to go. I think I have it in my notes. So they're going back to a Sunday one in November, and we've got All Out coming up in August, I suppose, right? Or All In or All Out? Which one is it? They're going to be giving us a date on that, so it'll be interesting to see if it's Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. Maybe they just say fuck it. WWE's doing the same thing now. Now they're putting SummerSlam on Saturday night. Like, what the heck's going on? It's already hard enough to keep track of this shit. They're both confusing us. Chris Ludecki, what's up, dude? $5 from you. Thanks again, man. Would you say this is a star-making performance for Sammy, where he could have Seth Rollins-type success as a single star? Seth Rollins-type success. Maybe, breaking out as, Seth did as a Shield member, Sammy doing the same thing. Yeah, the jury's out on that. I like Sammy a lot. I still think he's got to just kind of grow and get a little bit older, you know what I mean? Because he's just still super young looking. So, Rollins has a different kind of look than him, but Sammy's a badass, and he's been doing great stuff. I'm just really happy they gave him the victory tonight, or gave him the finish. November is the 6th of the Saturday. I thought they announced Sunday. I thought when they showed the graphic, it said Sunday. So I might not know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't listen to me about anything. There was a lot going on. Maybe I screwed it up. Anyway, let's go ahead and start getting into these results here. Let me take a sip of this Delicious, delicious brewski. And we'll get into these match-by-match results, try to get some opinions from all of you guys and what y'all thought. Like I said, it could not have gotten off to a better start on the buy-in show. They went through all of the hype packages for all the matches at first, and then about the bottom of the hour, they went live to the crowd. Lots of people there, a few colleagues of ours. I know Sean Ross Sapp and some others were in the crowd there and went down to Jacksonville. That was probably fun. I'm going to tell you right fucking now, based on the energy of this crowd, I'm going to SummerSlam. I mean, I said that yesterday. If it turns out to be LA, I'll go for sure. But if it was Vegas, it was like 50-50. If it's Vegas, it's 100%. We're going. So I just kind of want to be a part of that. It looked so much fun just to be out and around wrestling fans again and all that shit. So if it turns out to be LA or Vegas, you will see me at SummerSlam unless they announce something crazy and it's in New York or something. But if it's out here, I'll be there. And along with that post SummerSlam Raw on the 23rd here in San Diego. So maybe we can do a meetup. Anyway, I'll shut up. Crowd energy was amazing. Like I said, I loved the background for the commentary table. They had Shivani and Excalibur with like slot machines behind them. That looked very cool. And then we opened up with Serena Deeb and Riho. I think this was an NWA Championship match. Actually, I know it was. I just don't have it written down. And I knew this match was going to be pretty good because both these women are pros and stuff, but I wasn't expecting it to just really have... I guess I should have expected it because the crowd just has not been able to, this is the first real match on a real show. I know they taped some Elevation and some dark stuff, but, with this type of crowd on a pay-per-view, the first one back with a full capacity and no bullshit, no restrictions, them coming out first and being the first people to perform like that was pretty cool. And when Serena came out, you could see it on her face. She was like, I don't think she was expecting that. It was like, holy crap, I didn't know we're all going to get Road Warrior pops tonight because that's pretty awesome. So just all of that was just set the tone so well. And then these women get in the ring. I just kind of, because I'm still like WWE programmed, I'm like, oh, they're just going to go out there, have a nice little match, and that's going to be the end of it. No, they tore the fucking house down out there. So it was hot as hell. You could tell Serena was just sweating her ass off out there. But the crowd was into every move, every reversal, every near fall, everything. And it was just a really good match with a lot of back and forth. And just a lot of intensity from both. I think it was one of the best matches I've ever seen Riho have. A lot of near falls, her kicking out of shit I wasn't expecting. I thought I saw the outcome twice here, and it didn't happen. Finally, in the end, Serena aggressively is able to regain control and taps out Riho after she just smashes her knee a few times in the mat, really working the leg, and then cinches back, and Riho finally has to tap out. Great shit. Crowd gave a standing O to both women. You couldn't have asked for a better buy-in match. That was incredible, and it was one they just announced a couple days ago, and it turned out to be one of the more memorable nights or memorable matches of the whole night here. It was really good, so you could feel it. I wasn't trying to get too excited. I want to judge this pay-per-view honestly and stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to get too high off this to where it's going to cloud my judgment on the rest of the stuff. If the rest of the shit sucks, I'll say so. But they opened up with a phenomenal match on the main card. I really like this one. It was Adam Page and Brian Cage. They did this a couple times tonight. They did this with this one and with the three-way title match with Omega and Pac and Cassidy, is that they took an extremely predictable match. We saw Brian Cage beat Adam Page clean on Dynamite a few weeks back, which was shocking enough. So once they made this match, it's kind of like, okay, of course, Page is going to get his win back here. But instead of just doing that match and give Page the win back, like WWE would do, and just 50-50 book it and go away, they progressed Brian Cage at the same time. And on top of that, this match was really good and showcased how long has Brian Cage been coming out with that machine garb. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. He might have been doing it for years in other places. I just thought it looked crazy. So Taz was out there for commentary, by the way. But the match itself was really good, and they displayed their strengths a lot. And I think with both of them, because they were both just tossing each other around, the crazy suplex on the ramp that Brian Cage delivered to Hangman was really crazy. I mean, he just thud. Even the whole crowd kind of went, ooh, they gasped as he hit the wood or whatever the hell that was there. And then he brings him back into the ring, gets on the top rope, and basically F5s Adam Page into the ring, and he kicks out. I cannot believe that wasn't the finish. And they would do that a couple of different times here where I actually thought, oh, Cage is going to win. And he didn't. And it was a near fall every time. He attempted a buckshot lariat onto Hangman, which was pretty funny. He came close to doing it. He was able to land on his feet, but then Page caught him and hit him with his finisher, that F5 like move that he has. I forget what he calls it, and that wound up to be a near fall. So we wind up having Ricky Starks and Hook coming out. Now, I guess backstage, Cage had said that he doesn't want help from those guys, wants to go out there and do it on his own. So they kind of come out there against his wishes, and Taz is like, he needs help, man. And Taz really telegraphs everything, because you can see when Cage starts doing something that's unexpected, Taz is just a little bit, he's overselling it. What's he doing? You know it's going to wind up leading to him losing. These guys are going to fuck up, which they did. I think it was after Cage doesn't want help from them. I think it's Starks that tosses the belt, the FTW belt, in the ring while Hook distracts the ref. Cage wants nothing to do with the belt, tosses it back to him, and that's when Page is able to come regain control, hit Cage with the buckshot lariat for the win. So in a lot of ways, it furthers that story. Adam Page, or Hangman, gets his win back, and instead of stalling out Brian Cage, you progress his story. With Team Taz, there's been hints of dissension there. In promos, Cage has given these guys extremely weird looks. This has been dating back at least 5 weeks now. So this kind of progresses that while putting Page over at the same time. Like, this is how you do it. This should be really easy, concept of saying, don't, when you're just throwing matches together during lunch and no way to think them through, that's when we get what we see on Raw every fucking week for 3 hours. This is just so much better. It was a way to where it was literally a win-win all the way around. Page had to get that win back at some point, because I think he's going to be the one to beat Kenny. So this loss can't really hang over for him for too long. He's got to get it back, but to do it in such a way where Brian Cage isn't going to lose any steam at all. If anything, he might be on the verge of a babyface turn here, because the crowd was hot as hell for half the shit he was doing out there. This is the most impressive I've ever seen Brian Cage. I liked it a lot. So it was all in all a good match. Hangman, by the way, that was the other night when he got busted open. I don't think he got busted open here. That was Friday night that happened. But anyway, big win for him. Again, crowd into it. Super into it. They reacted to everything here. Adam Page was another guy that I could tell when you go watch this back, when he comes through the ramp, he comes out there, strutting his stuff, and then as soon as the fans pop for him, he kind of takes a deep breath. He gets choked up. I mean, I swear, half a dozen of these wrestlers tonight got visibly choked up on the ramp when they came out there. It was a beautiful thing. It was an absolutely beautiful thing. So big win there for Adam Page. Really happy to see the outcome of that match go the way it did. And we'll see what's next for him. He got a huge ovation. Both guys did. After that, we got the tag team title match. AEW Tag Team Champions Young Bucks defending against Dean Ambrose and Eddie Kingston. So I went back and forth on this match a little bit. I thought all the way up until last week that Mox and Eddie should win the tag team titles here. It would be cool. It would be cool for them. It would shut the Bucks up for a little while, and I think the fans would dig it. They would be into it. But then when we did my predictions yesterday, I kind of changed my tune. I'm like, no, when I've been watching the way the storyline's going, it's not telling me that they're going to win the titles. It's actually telling me that the Bucks are going to retain. So I changed my prediction at the last minute, and yesterday predict the Bucks, which I turned out to be right. But today I was second-guessing myself again, and I was like, well, maybe not. I would really like to see Mox and Eddie win, so I didn't know where the hell I wanted to be on this match, but I didn't expect it to be this good. It was a running theme through this entire night, that every match that I was like, oh, that'll be pretty good, and then it was like 3 or 4 times better. I mean, that was really what was happening to here most of the night, and this one was just incredible. And I'll tell you what, it's not that I've not been a believer in the Young Bucks, but when I think of my favorite tag teams of all time, I don't even think they really break my top 5, maybe not even my top 10. But I'm not anti-Young Bucks. Some people are very, very anti-Young Bucks and poke holes and complain about shit that they do psychology-wise in the match. And that's annoying, because I know that you think it makes you sound smarter to say that, but really you just sound like someone who doesn't understand professional wrestling. And you can't have a 1980s philosophy when you're watching today's wrestling. I know that better than anybody, because I used to watch wrestling in the 80s, the early 80s, before Hogan even got there. So, what made sense then and now are 2 different things. It's a different product, different style. There's a lot of evolution going on. And don't worry about, oh, well, he just stood there and selling, and then the ref did this, and this didn't look right or whatever. Shut up. Kane set a cameraman on fire with a lightning bolt. Let's not talk about what makes sense or not. Let's have fun. Bottom line here is this match, regardless of what you thought about it, was an entertaining as hell match. Yes, there was a lot of kickouts, a lot, but you know what? I don't care. Sometimes I like those throw everything at each other but the kitchen sink and kick out of everything matches. And there weren't all kickouts. There was a lot of saves there too. But I don't often hate that. Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes you need that on a wrestling show where it's just balls out everywhere. Everything is happening. You think the match is going to end 5 or 6 different times and it doesn't. Instead of sitting there, trying to be a smart ass fan or trying to like legitimize this bullshit that we watch and say, oh, it's too many finishes. It doesn't make sense. Kane set a cameraman on fire with a lightning bolt. Stop talking about what doesn't make sense. It's wrestling. Have some fun. Loosen up. Have a good time. This was great. These guys entertained the fuck out of me. And like I said, it did make me a believer in the Young Bucks. This was a solid win. They had a little bit of help from Good Brothers kind of jumping out there, but that kind of ended quickly with Kazarian, I think, coming out to make the save a little bit. So even though they had a little bit of help, it wasn't a ton. I don't even think Don Callis was really involved in that. He didn't get involved until later, I believe, with Kenny. So it was a solid win for them, and the match was all over the place. Now, they came out to Wild Thing. I don't know, maybe Eddie Kingston has worn this before. I've never noticed it, but I marked out for the Chico's Bail Bonds jersey from the Bad News Bears. Now, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to be an amateur bowler, like a really good bowler. Like I carried a 200-plus average. I was the fucking man. And I used to have a bowling team. We called ourselves Chico's Bail Bonds. And everybody, when we did these bowling leagues, it was an adult league. It was one of my teammates actually passed away, and he was this big, really built black guy. And then we had another guy that was a little bit older than me and a little bigger, kind of scruffy looking, and we had like a kind of a young, pretty girl. That was our 4-person team, and everybody thought that we were a real bail bonds. I even had a guy approach me asking me for my card in case he needed it, which made me extremely uncomfortable that this guy thinks he might need a bail bondsman in the future. But anyway, I marked out for that because my bowling team used to be called Chico's Bail Bondsman. Anyway, it was cool just to see them come out there. You could tell the crowd wanted it for Eddie Kingston. He was the star of this. The crowd was really specifically behind him, and you could feel that. It was just the Eddie chants. They really, you kind of wanted that for him. I did. I thought it was going to be great either way. I'm like, man, if he wins, it's going to be a great moment. But if he takes the pin, it's like mega heat for the Bucks. And he didn't even. Mox did, but we'll get into that. They brawl immediately into the crowd. Mox and Eddie wind up eliminating Brandon Cutler, who's out there with the face mask and the cold spray. He's a licensed therapist or whatever that Don Callis said. Don Callis, by the way, is on commentary for this match most of the time shitting his pants through this, as he would later on as well with Kenny. Good Brothers do attempt to kind of come out there. I think Eddie takes out Gallows, and then Anderson is chased off by Kazarian. So they're out there at first to cause a little bit of a distraction, but they're neutralized pretty quickly. Mox winds up taking an aerosol can right to the head. I can't remember which one of them, it was Matt or Nick, but he just bounced that thing. And Moxley probably said, make it look good, because I'm not a big fan of like the microphone bops or anything, or a shoe hit or anything like that, because you don't really lay it in. And Moxley, I think, was like, lay it in, and he basically threw it at him at point blank range, and it bounced right off of Moxley's skull and cut him open pretty good, so he's bleeding. He immediately, right after the aerosol can to the head, he took a Meltzer driver on the ramp. So you think he's dead, but he actually is able to recover from this, gets back in the ring, hot tags Kingston. Kingston comes in, starts kicking ass for a while. He gets worked over. Then he tags Mox, who is still kind of staggering from all the shit he ate earlier. He eats a double super kick to the face, followed by a 450 by Matt for a near fall. And that was one instance where I thought that was it. So that was really good. Another cool spot was later on when Moxley and Kingston regained control. They hit a doomsday device onto Matt, I believe, using the shoes that they stole from them. I don't know anything about sneakers. I had Reebok pumps in 7th grade, which would have been like 1988 or 90. But since then, I haven't given a shit about Jordans or anything like that. But apparently, they're really expensive shoes, and they tie them together and doomsday device Matt with the shoes, which was a pretty cool spot. Nick makes the save there. So again, near fall after near fall, big paradigm shift to Nick Jackson, and Matt makes the save this time. So they're saving each other. All 4 of these guys, I think, saved each other twice each from near fall. It was like that. It was all over the place. Mox then gets the shit. This was one of the best parts. Moxley gets the shit super kicked right out of him. They just did that deal where they just hit you with 5 or 6 super kicks and then a double one to finish it. They go down to pin him, and the motherfucker kicks out at 1. It was fabulous. It was phenomenal. So kicks out at 1. starts going nuts. Then they corner Mox again with a BTE trigger. He stays up, and then they hit 2 fucking more BTE triggers onto Moxley for the win and put down Eddie and Moxley. A lot of people, when we were talking and the chatter and everything going on around online prior to this match, was that Eddie was probably there to take the pin, not Moxley. So that was pretty cool. I'm not sure about Mox, like when Renee has the baby, if he's going to go away just for a couple weeks or leave for a bit, or maybe if this loss sends him on his way now. I think it would have been cool to see Moxley and Eddie win the titles briefly and then maybe immediately drop them back to the Bucks. But I think in the long run, this is better to have the Bucks win the way they did, continue their role, kind of tie in their run with whatever Kenny is doing type of thing, and having all those guys be just enormous douchebags together. They're pulling it off well, and honestly, I wouldn't mess with it right now. So I'm cool with the outcome there. I thought the match was great. I just kind of thought the match would be good, like really good and fun. I just didn't know it was going to be all out like this. So I think the talent deserves credit, and like I said, the crowd is a big part of this. If this was a normal style, like we never had a pandemic and you had a normal audience there, they were having to follow a lot of great shit here. One great thing followed by another great thing followed by another great thing with not too much buffering in between, and that's hard to pull off, if you don't have a crowd that's just expelling what has been 18 months of pent up energy, from not being able to watch wrestling live. So it was awesome. That was a great tag team title match. Can't say enough good things about it. After that, we had the Casino Battle Royale. Whole bunch of people in this one, but as we talked about, when you look at the field, Christian was really at the top of the list here in terms of who could potentially win it. There was also the Joker, who was going to be, an extra entrant, the 21st entrant. And they did a good job here by kind of teasing you. Of course, they had Paul White come out. And I'm like, well, if they're bringing Paul White out, it's going to be him. We talked about that yesterday. I'm like, I think that would actually be pretty cool, an interesting match, and one that we've never seen before. Have Paul White come off commentary, win the Battle Royal, and then put Kenny over on Dynamite in like 2 weeks, just randomly. Match we've never seen, big notch on Kenny's belt. Thought it might be Paul White. I never thought it was really going to be Andrade. I thought he was too big for this match. Same goes for Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or Samoa Joe. I thought those names were just a little bit too big for the purposes of this match, but it turned out to be somebody who I think was a fabulous addition to this, Lio Rush, who's been kicking ass since leaving WWE. Much like Drew McIntyre and a few other people, he's made the best of his opportunity outside of WWE, and since he's been gone from them, he's been bouncing around, and he's been working a lot of matches and doing a lot of things and impressing a lot of people, and I'm happy for him. So I hope we see him again. I hope they bring him back in to do more. He didn't last long. He was eliminated by Private Party, 30 seconds into his deal there. I'm curious what his pay was for this, but if they had him there, I'm hoping they can talk to him about using him again, because it was just kind of good to see him. My only regret is that he didn't do more in the match. But anyway, among the names in here, I'm not going to read them all out. We had Powerhouse Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes, Max Caster, when he came out to the ring, dropped some pretty funny rhymes about Edge and Matt Sydal slipping off the top rope, which was kind of funny. Matt Hardy, Penta, Jungle Boy, Varsity Blondes, Preston Vance, Private Party, like I said, Lio Rush, and let me see. It's about all I have written down, but it was about 20 guys. In the end, that's what I wanted to talk about here, was the final 3. Because it came down to Matt Hardy, Christian, and Jungle Boy. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like yesterday versus today. This is a homegrown AEW talent here in Jungle Boy face off with 2 WWE rejects, as the haters like to say. And I was like, man, they should put Jungle Boy over here. That's the right thing to do. And when you see Matt Hardy kind of trying to convince Christian, come on, man, let's team up. Let's team up and take this guy out. It was kind of cool to see Christian be like, no way, and then eliminate Matt Hardy. I also think it would have been cool if they did team up to try to eliminate Jungle Boy, and then he eliminated them both by himself. That would have been a huge way to get him over too. But instead, Christian tosses over Hardy, then him and Jungle Boy work for a while. Jungle Boy's able to turn the tables, toss Christian over the top rope, and win the Battle Royal. And a surprise, he wasn't on my radar, and he should have been. I think he wasn't on my radar because I know he's gotten some big-time matches on TNT already. I know he's worked Jericho, and I think he worked Cody. I think he wrestled for the TNT title as well, and he's had a couple of main events. So him and Omega now, I think it's going to be great. He might have even wrestled Omega already too. I can't remember, but it feels like that's something we've seen, but I don't care. It's a good opportunity for him. It'll be a great match on TV, and that was cool. Cage got back into the ring, and Christian congratulated Jungle Boy on his big win. The crowd had a great time. Maybe that's why they put him over here, because they want that crowd to sing that song they paid for. They're paying for some songs, man, with this one and with Wild Thing for Jon Moxley. It's just cool to see AEW do that. It's another thing that just kind of sets them apart a little bit from WWE and gives them just a different vibe. So good stuff there. We'll see when that title match happens, probably like in a week or two. Don't think it'll be Wednesday. They'll probably announce his title shot this Wednesday for the following week, I guess, unless they want to bump it for a bit longer. Can you guys do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button for me? Those of you who are here, I'd appreciate it. I'll go back and answer some of the chat here and see if there's any more super chats rolling in just a second. Yeah, there's a couple there. I'll just get those queued up for later. All right, after the Battle Royal that was won by Jungle Boy, we've got Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo. Team America, fuck yeah. Cody Rhodes coming out as the American Dream. I wish Tony Khan would have paid for Dusty's WWE Common Man theme. That would have been fucking hilarious. Having Cody coming out there jiggling and gyrating in polka dots. I would have much preferred that than what he did. Dude was wearing American flag boots. Boots that are American flag. Whoa, shit. See how excited I am about that? Boots that are American flags. Just knock my shit down. Y'all can still hear me, right? Big, bright American flag boots. He just looked so pretty tonight. So he came out there. Even Justin Roberts announced him as a soon-to-be father. So funny. You gotta love Cody. They went into this match. Of course, the weigh-in last night was ridiculous. On Friday night was ridiculous. And we kind of were wondering what kind of match we were going to get here, if it was going to be something quick and Cody was just going to put him over, or it was going to be more of a normal style match. But once he announced that he was going to be the American Dream, you kind of figured there's no way he's going to lose this match. Of course, he's going to win with his father's name and all this kind of stuff. And this was probably my least favorite match of the night. Ogogo, at least, I don't know if this was legit or storyline, but they were talking about his bruised ribs that was suffered in training. I thought that was a legit story. It might have been kayfabe, I'm not sure. But Cody and Ogogo had an okay match. Cody was playing a lot of defense at first, really trying to get away and avoid those punches. And he got punched hard early and hit with an Olympic slam that he kicked out of. But from there, he was working from behind. But in the end, it was basically like the experience over youth type of thing. I think Ogogo is only 2-0 in AEW. Cody's been doing this for a while. Winds up setting up the vertebraker, and when he had him in this thing, for a guy of Anthony Ogogo's experience level, I'm shitting my pants watching him up in that vertebraker. And I'm like, tuck your chin, dude, tuck your chin. And he landed perfectly, took it, and then Cody pinned him for the win. So there you go. Big surprise. Let me make sure that when I knocked that mic, I didn't screw anything up. Okay, y'all can hear me. We're all good. So Cody wins. Now, I'm okay with this. I mean, I'm not okay with it. I really wanted Ogogo to win, but I just didn't like, how they've interjected some of these things in the storyline that they didn't really need to, and all of that. But here, he got the win here. Now maybe you can rebuild Anthony Ogogo. And I set in motion yesterday on the podcast, this long string of events of champions to try to get to Ogogo getting this win back from Cody eventually one day down the road. And I kind of compared it to when Cena beat Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules when Brock first came back. And it was like, how the hell did that happen? Even Brock said, I don't know how the hell this guy beat me. And then when they met again at SummerSlam, Brock absolutely destroyed him. So you can have Hangman Adam Page take the belt from Kenny Omega down the line. Then you can have MJF take the belt from Hangman Page. You can take it from a babyface. It'll be a big deal for the Pinnacle and the whole deal. Then you can have Cody weasel his way back into a title shot somehow, because he's got that BS stipulation that can easily be written away. So they do that, and he gets a match against MJF, and then gets his win back from when he put MJF over, and he wins the AEW title. Now he's AEW champion. Meanwhile, while all this shit is going on, Anthony Ogogo is kicking ass on the main roster, getting better, gaining experience, becoming more and more of a badass, more credible, and becoming one of the best wrestlers they have. And this might be a year and a half from now or whatever, but then you set up Cody Rhodes, Anthony Ogogo for the title at a pay-per-view. You call back to this match, show footage of it, talk about it, and Ogogo will be like, I was just a kid back then, man, and all this stuff. And then you put them in the ring together and you recreate SummerSlam 2014 with Ogogo and Cody just gets whooped and passes the belt like how Brody Lee did to him for the TNT title. And he passes the belt to Ogogo. You make him, when he proves that win, a couple years ago was a fluke. Now, that's some long-term booking to an insane degree because nobody books that far ahead, but that would be a nice sequence of events that I would like to see in terms of the direction of the title. And if you want to make your own guy, if you want to make your own legit fighter like WWE had with Brock, this might be the guy to do it. And let's just hope that this loss to Mr. America, fuck yeah, doesn't, hinder his growth too much. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Sting, man. We're getting there, Ryan. Sting was the man tonight. Let me knock out a couple of these supers before we get into the next match, which was the TNT title, Miro and Lance. Where we go? Mike McGee, I think, right? Mike McGee, welcome back, dude. Appreciate 5. Favorite part of the pay-per-view, the Bucks taking the jabs on the Shield. That's right, I forgot to mention that. And the Acclaimed rapper told Christian he was nothing without an edge. That was good stuff. I forgot about the Shield shit, so that was even more salt in the wound there. The Bucks are such douches. They're so good at it, too. I love them. Love the Bucks. Joseph Smith, thanks, dude. Appreciate 2. AEW is turning into WCW. Extremes with old veterans turning into WCW. Yeah, I mean, I like that these people are around. I like their presence sprinkled throughout. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I like it. These are wrestlers that, we all, or at least I did, grew up with or knew or watched or whatever, and they've got they have value and they have stuff to offer. I don't know why people think that's a bad thing. I don't think, maybe you don't think it is a bad thing, but having them around, having WCW guys there is very awesome. And fucking Sting, man, my God. Cannot believe how good he looked, and we're almost there. It's almost time to talk about Sting, but first we got to talk about our new AEW Women's Champion, and no doubt about it in this one, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Britt Baker is on top of the world right now. She's fabulous. I had all in on her. I was Britt. I didn't even think twice in the predictions. It's going to be Baker. The writing's on the wall for Shida. She's held the belt for a year. Solid champion. They gifted her the new title to commemorate her long run there. It's time to pass it to Britt, who I think is the best just overall female character they have on the roster. And this match was really good. I got to say, I wasn't sure if it would even be that great, but it was. And Britt was not messing around. She took a really hard shot to the guardrail. Shida just threw her, and Britt just didn't protect herself at all and just went head first right into the guardrail. Ouch. I was worried she would even recover from that, but she did, and she was fighting hard, beating the shit out of Shida for a good portion of this match, and Shida was telling the story of just fighting hard, no matter what. Seemed like she was always on the ropes a lot and just fighting like champion fighting spirit type of thing is what they were really trying to illustrate here with Shida, and they did a good job. Britt winds up getting smacked with the crutch right in front of the referee, a little miscue with her and Rebel there, and that's when Shida, after the crutch shot, picks her up, hits her with a Falcon Arrow for an extreme near fall. I actually thought 2 different times that there was going to be a big upset. I was convinced that Britt was going to win, and much like they did in some of these earlier matches and what they would do later with Kenny, they kept me on my toes. They made me second guess myself. I thought the match was over right there. And then I thought my prediction came true a little while later when they introduced the title belt, and Britt Baker curb stomped Shida right onto the title belt, rolled her over, and got a near fall, and Shida kicked out of that. That was awesome. And then Shida hits her finisher after that and gets a near fall. Finally, Britt hangs on, locks in the lockjaw. Shida fighting. She's beaten, she's battered, she's bruised, she's kicked out of everything. She can't get away here. Finally, she's tapping out, and Britt Baker is your new AEW champion. Finally, they actually took a little longer to do this than I thought. I would have put it on her right away, but she worked her way back up through the rankings. And she had that great outing with Thunder Rosa in a losing effort. And I think after that, they finally realized this is your girl. This is who you need to build the division around. And this was absolutely the right call to make. She's going to be a great champion. She's going to be a fun champion. I'm really, really happy for her. So one thing I will also say about Hikaru Shida, a lot of people, will maybe criticize. Oh, by the way, before I talk about Shida, I got to talk about after the match when she went up and hugged Tony Schiavone. That got me here. That was so awesome because he was a big part of he was a big part of what made me take notice. I've always liked Britt Baker, but there was that something missing. And when she got hurt and she was doing all that, she was fucking with him and all that stuff. And what got me over was the pulley system. When she had the pulley system with the notes, I'm like, that's it. Put the title on her tomorrow. I'm sold. And I've been on Team Britt ever since then. So to see her kind of go up there and hug Shivani was kind of cool because it was a personal moment. Like, yeah, kind of on TV, she's always giving him shit. I was there on the Jericho cruise when I think all of this started, when she really laid into him hard. So to see them kind of share that embrace, that was awesome. I enjoyed that a lot. And to Hikaru Shida, I will just say great run. I mean, that was a year-long run. And a lot of people felt it might have been underwhelming, which I think is fair. But I wouldn't call her title run like useless or meaningless. I think she played a really important part in AEW's growth here because during the pandemic, she was a really solid champion to have. I would have much rather have Hikaru Shida just have a quiet run, a quiet year-long run with some title matches, some successful title defenses here and there, but nothing that's setting the world on fire, to do that and be a solid champion instead of overbooking the title or hot potatoing the title or just doing shit, throwing shit against the wall, seeing what sticks. I think they understood right from the start, as we've been saying as fans, that their women's division needs a lot of work. It was really, really weak at first. And having Shida hold your title for this long, it allowed, during the pandemic and during this weird kind of time, during this time, the women's division has not only been growing, but it's been improving. So those are two big things they kind of, I think, wanted to wait for, and now they're ready. I think the women's division in AEW is ready to take the next step, and Britt Baker is that next step. She's now a character because so far we didn't hear much from Nyla Rose. She wasn't champion very long. She had Vicky with her, and they did a little bit of talking, but your two main champions so far have been Riho and Hikaru Shida. So, we haven't been able to see a lot of storytelling with them, because with the promos and, and the language barrier and things like that. So we're going to get that now out of Britt Baker. But I think Hikaru Shida did a great job doing her job. She did it well. I think what AEW needed was a good, solid champion that could work and they could do the job while things got better. And instead of bumping the title from woman to woman and putting it on Chris Statlander or maybe somebody else who's good but maybe not quite ready yet, instead of doing all that, just have a good, solid worker hold it, which protects the belt in a lot of ways instead of them just moving around and figuring shit out and kind of jumbling up, the legacy of it. They're, in a lot of ways, they were treading water too. Like, let's just keep it on her until, let's build Britt. And now Britt has it. Now you've got some other pieces on the women's division that you didn't have there 2 years ago. And I think that things are getting better on that front. And now you have a women's division that I'm going to look forward to every week, because if Britt Baker wasn't obnoxious enough without the title, she's going to be fabulous starting this Wednesday, and I can't wait to see it. So congrats to Britt Baker. Really happy with the outcome there, and the right call was made. Faux show. For sure. Man, good stuff. Anyway, Sting and Darby Allen were up next against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Now, we've seen Sting kind of wrestle already in that weird cinematic shit that they did, but this was going to be in the ring, and this is going to be a whole different deal, and I was not expecting this to be as good as it was, and I was not expecting to see what I saw from Sting. My God, he looked incredible. So anyway, we get the match started. Sting comes out, and before things really even get cooking, Sting gets suplexed by Scorpio Sky on the ramp. 62-year-old Sting, how old is he? He gets suplexed on the ramp, and immediately Hulk Hogan no-sells it. Gets right up, springs right up like it didn't even happen. 62-year-old man, backdropped or suplexed, onto hard wood, bounces right up and gets up without even selling the damn thing. That was pretty badass. And Scorpio, of course, has already turned his back because he thinks Sting is dead, and Sting appears behind Scorpio Sky, chucks him off the stage, and then takes his shirt off, and then gets in the ring and just starts then he dives off the stage. He dives off the stage onto everybody, and then he winds up getting in the ring and just kicking ass in there. He's doing a Stinger punches. He's doing a Stinger splash. He's moving around. He's light on his feet. My mind is blown. Now, I knew that Sting could do a little bit physically, obviously. He can actually get in there and move around. If he couldn't move at all, I don't think he would get in there and do that. So he had to know that he could do it, or at least bust out a good match if he had to. And he looked great. It was so nice to see that. And we all talked about Sting. I know I said it myself. I'm like, I just hope he's okay to be getting in the ring. Some fans are a little more testy about it. Some fans are like, oh, he shouldn't be in the ring at his age, eating Doritos, never done a physically athletic thing in their lives, judging somebody about what their body can and can't do. I found that a little bit gross and disgusting. Who the fuck are you to tell an all-time great, a professional, something that you will never be, what to do or how to do it? but you also cannot ignore 62 years old. So the fact that he was able to go in there and do it proved to me that Sting is a pro, and professionals are professionals, and they know how to professional it up. He knows what the fuck he's doing out there. He knows what he needs to do to get the job done, and he knows what his assignments are. And he went out there and he took care of business. It was great. Darby was Darby. Probably my favorite part of the match was when Darby Allen was thrown by Ethan Page, I believe, into his family. Is that what they said? Like his brothers? I don't know if his parents or whoever the hell was out there, but he was basically thrown. So this is like a couple weeks in a row now, or no, back to the couple weeks back to the Miro match when he dove outside of the ring and he literally bounced off of Miro in that suicide dive, which was great. This was kind of similar, only he's being launched by Ethan Page right into his family. I wish now I would have became a wrestler just so I could have had a guy throw me into my parents. That would have been awesome. So that was pretty great shit. Sting gets back in the ring, still starts kicking ass. Actually hits a code red on Page at one point. And funny thing is, I don't even have the damn finish written down here. Was it the Scorpion Deathlock or was it the slop drop or whatever? I don't even have the finish written down here. Anyway, we know who's going to win this one. This one was about as obvious as any of them was. You're not going to put Sting back in a crowd inside of a ring for the first time in God knows when and have him drop this match. Hell no. So Sting and Darby picked up the win, and I forgot to write down the finish there, but I'm pretty sure it was Sting who scored the fall, either with a pin or Scorpion, I think. Having trouble remembering. But anyway, that was very good stuff. Before I get into the AEW title match, let me thank you, Watt M8, for the $5. Hello, Mr. Mike Works. Double or Nothing was worth $50 for me. Also, I hope you're having a nice day. I'm having a fabulous day. It's a holiday weekend. Summer is almost here. The weather is beautiful. I had my windows open all day, smelled the fresh air, just chilled out, was really ready for some wrestling. Got an open beer now. Things are great. Couldn't ask for a better day, and I hope you guys are having a good one too, because tomorrow is a holiday. Hopefully many of you are off. We'll be up here talking about Monday Night Raw. Hopefully the show doesn't suck. Fingers crossed. Zane G, what's up, dude? Appreciate that very generous $20 drop from you. You think a new introduction to the Women's Championship given to Shida for her one-year anniversary CM Punk style would have been a waste for AEW to produce a new championship, although Shida had lost? I like that they did that. I like that they made a new title and gave it to Shida. And speaking of CM Punk, I put this on Twitter yesterday. It made me think of when he was champion. And remember, he lost to The Rock at Royal Rumble 2013 after more than a year-long title run. And then like the next week on Raw, they present, or The Rock unveils, the new WWE title belt. CM Punk should have been given that belt to commemorate his long run, and he should have held it and then dropped that title to The Rock. But no, poor CM Punk had to carry around that ugly-ass, ridiculous spinner fucking belt for 14 months or whenever, or however long it was. That's what they should have done. But I think they did it right here. I think they did Shida justice by saying, hey, solid job. I just explained why I kind of liked her run in terms of somebody that was able to hold the belt while the women's division treaded water, got better and improved, and now they're ready to take the next step and pass it to somebody else. She did her job and did her job well, and she deserved that whole ceremony. So I don't think it was a waste. It would have been a waste at all to produce one. I like the new one. It's a little more gold, little larger, and looks good with Britt. So I'm happy about it. I'm happy with the whole situation, really. But anyway, next match on the card, not surprising here. We expected, or at least I expected, the Stadium Stampede to be the main event, considering that Kenny Omega has a match here that doesn't really, to me, feel like a really true, honest threat to his championship. I feel like he's not going to be dropping the belt here, so the best we could hope for was a really good match. And like all the others, it not only was it good, it exceeded my expectations, again, for like the 100th time tonight. So anyway, this is Kenny Omega defending the AEW title against Orange Cassidy and Pac. I don't think they call these triple threats. I think they call them three-ways or something like that. Three-way match here. And this was fun right from the word go. I was starting to prepare for the stream for the beginning part of the match. I even consciously told myself that I'm probably going to be tuned out for the first 10 minutes while they're getting cooking because I got to get ready and I want to be live right after the Stadium Stampede. So I kind of missed paying attention and making notes for like the first 10 minutes, but they were in there doing their Kenny and Cassidy and Pac things. Very good. Started paying more attention to the match about halfway through and really enjoyed the huge near fall that came kind of near the end. with Orange Cassidy, followed like a Black Arrow to Cassidy, with Kenny just barely making the save, with the fans, I think, even saying that or chanting, "That was three, that was three, that was three." Very cool Black Arrow miss to Omega, and then immediately locked in a brutalizer to a standing Omega. I really liked all that. That was a good looking spot there. Punch by Cassidy when Omega's kind of tied up there. And that was probably the scariest part in the match, because you've got Pac trying to have the brutalizer on Omega, who's standing up. He turns around, Cassidy just decks him right in the face, and they kind of stumble backwards. And Pac falls through the ropes, and Kenny Omega's neck does the thing where he kind of hits the top rope and it kind of snaps his neck. And you can hear Pac hit the floor. It's like, boom. It's like, oh shit. And you don't even see really how he landed, but you see that Kenny is kind of dazed. That was a really scary fall, and I'm glad that neither of them turned out to be injured, because even the ref looked down. He was like, oh shit, is Pac all right? And apparently he was given a signal that he was all right, and he did, just within seconds, climb back into the ring. I'm like, whew, because the way they fell there, that just looked like it was a spill that wasn't quite the way it was supposed to go. And whenever that happens, you can easily fall funny or break something or God knows what. So I was really worried for those guys, but the fact that they kind of snapped right out of that was fine. Made everything fine, excuse me. Orange punch by Orange Cassidy to both guys, and that's when Callis freaks out. I think he hits Pac first, and then he runs up and hits Omega, and then Callis on commentary goes, shit, and he jumps off headset and he leaves and he runs down there. Cassidy's starting to load up another punch and winds up hitting Pac with it and goes for the pin, because Kenny is out, and now he's got Pac down for the 1-2-3. He should be the new champion. 1-2, Callis pulls out the referee, motherfucker, fuck you, Don chant, fuck you, Don, fuck you, Don. I think the fans really wanted it for Orange Cassidy, even though you got to know that Omega's not dropping the belt here. Brutalizer after that on Cassidy. This was another great spot, because now Pac is locked in his finish on Orange Cassidy, but Omega can't get Pac to release the hold, because I think now you got another referee out there. I think Aubrey might have hit the ring and came out there. Or no, I'm sorry, the referee is still there. Excuse me. Referee is still there trying to see if Orange Cassidy wants to submit. And that's when Kenny gets in the ring and starts trying to break up the brutalizer. He's like kicking Pac, and Pac's looking at him like, you ain't breaking this on me, motherfucker. And Kenny's like, oh shit, because the referee's right there, and I can't get him to break the hold. If Cassidy submits, it's over. So Kenny double axes the referee right on the back. He goes down. And then they start introducing all of the title belts, and I think, which was kind of funny that they needed them all. You really only needed one, but he hit Pac, I think, with all three belts. I think he hit him once with the AEW, and then he brought the Impact and the TNA one in there and belted him with those. So he goes down all three times. And then I think he eats an orange punch. Cassidy comes back in the ring, hits Kenny with an orange punch after he's already destroyed Pac, and that's when Aubrey Edwards comes out. She runs out there. Fans start freaking out. She goes in there to count 1-2 near fall, so just barely fails to barely gets the 3 count there on Kenny Omega, and Cassidy, while he's sitting there kind of stunned, Omega's able to grab a hold of him right there in a crucifix and just roll him backwards, and Aubrey, boom, 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 1-2-3 for the win, and Kenny escapes with his life. So between all those near falls, Callis pulling out, the referee, Kenny attacking the referee, all the title belts, all the near falls, it was really good. And even though I 1,000,000% expected Kenny Omega to retain, there's, again, just like Shida did, they had me twice here where I thought that, oh shit, he's really going to lose this, and he didn't. And in the end, he retained the title. So very cool. I think he even celebrated on the stage with the Bucks and Callis, and they were there in all their glory and all their splendor. Really good stuff. I thought that match was just fantastic. And then right after that was when they announced the Full Gear date, which I believe is November 6th. And it's in St. Louis, but I would have sworn. Oh, it does say Saturday. Yeah, I have written down Saturday, but I guess November 6th is a Saturday. Yeah, November 6th of this Saturday. Somebody in the chat told me it was a Sunday. Y'all confusing me. So anyway, they announced the date for that. We haven't gotten a date, I don't think, on All Out or All In or whatever the hell the one in August is. So we'll have that ahead of the St. Louis date, but it's nice to see kind of them starting to put cities on the calendar again. And man, we're starting to get life back, y'all. So exciting. After the Full Gear, announcement. We go back to the ring. Tony Schiavone is in the ring, hyping their new Friday night show that's going to be starting, I think, in August as well. It's Rampage, right? It's going to be Friday nights on TNT. I believe that starts a little bit later at 10 o'clock, and I also think that it's supposed to move to TBS in 2022, but they've signed on another analyst. So we're going to have another guy on commentary. So Tony Schiavone starts, really talking him up. I'm like, oh my God, who's this going to be? Somebody's returning. I was just excited, regardless of who the name was. I'm like, I bet you it's somebody pretty cool. And it turns out to be Mark Henry. So Mark Henry is joining the show. Not a big surprise there. Isn't he there with isn't he a Bustin' Open radio guy? They always talk AEW and shit, I think. So it's not really that much of a surprise that it's him, and it gives him something to do, and he's there now with the big show, which is kind of cool, and he's just there as an analyst to be a personality there. I don't think you're going to have the haters, oh, they're just grabbing everybody from WWE. That's not what they're doing. What do you expect? These people are professional wrestlers, and they're professional wrestling personalities. There's no rule that says they can't go get work. It was like this in the 80s. And everything. It's like, guys just moved around and went where the work was. And you got an opportunity here to, as a retired wrestler to come on as an analyst and stuff. Like, what is the fucking harm, in that, especially with somebody like Mark, who, has got a lot of history in wrestling. He's seen a lot. He could be a good, mentor. He could be a good guru for a lot of guys, good inspiration to other black wrestlers in the company. Things like that, I just see like nothing really but positive. I don't see a negative side of that at all. It's not a guy that's going to be there to take anybody's spot. He's going to be there to be nice, lovable Mark Henry like he always is. So I'm kind of glad that he's all elite. Him and Big Show there together is pretty funny. You're going to have some more large desk chairs or commentary chairs for these guys to sit in if they're going to be sitting there together, especially. Can you imagine that team? Mark Henry and Big Show together on commentary? Man, oh man. So he's there now. He's going to be just a little bit of personality, and we'll see if he forms himself a faction or not. Or if he, like Paul White, might eventually just get in the ring once just for poops and laughs and, see some action in there. We'll see. But glad he's there. Mark Henry's all elite. Another notable name heading over to AEW. Good stuff. Anyway, wish him the best. Yeah, Jason O'Neill, did I fucking stutter? Did you not understand that? Was that hard for you to understand? It's just some fake, I want to be mad for no fucking reason. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's exactly those words. What does that mean? Nothing. All Out is September 5th. Thank you for that, 2021. I actually was, Joseph, I actually almost tweeted that as a joke tonight. Boy, it's a good thing Vince didn't trademark Mark Henry. No, Mark Henry is his real name. We all know that. So yeah, that's why he can use his own name, because it's his own name, which is also kind of cool. I'm glad he can't be sexual chocolate, unfortunately, in AEW, because if you give me some sexual chocolate matches in AEW, I'm going to be really happy. Anyway, what match is next? Oh yeah, it's the main event. Stadium Stampede. Finally, we knew this match was going to be the main event. It had to be, just based on the story and everything in Kenny's match. It just felt more fitting here. Pinnacle taking on the Inner Circle. Stadium Stampede Part 2. I guess I've never paid attention to Pinnacle's theme music before. I'm sure they've had it for a few weeks. It just never registered, never really listened to it. It's very Horseman-like. It's very much like that WCW Horseman theme, which I loved, which I thought was one of the best. MJF comes out there, the music, he's in the limo by himself. Comes out of the limo, starts calling out, guys, where are you at? Where are you at? And that's when the Inner Circle starts propelling from the scoreboard to Judas, and they're all coming down there. And one of them, like I said earlier, it was either Hager or Jericho, was out of control on the thing, just swaying back and forth. I would have been shitting my pants up there. My God. So they're coming down so fast, and they propel and they unlatch and they go to attack MJF. But just like what happened on Dynamite, they got ambushed again. So they got outsmarted again. The Pinnacle swarms them. And then I kind of like the way, I was really curious how this was going to be shot and presented to the audience, because there was so much going on and there's a lot of members here. You're talking about like 10 guys or 12 guys or whatever it is. And I kind of like that they broke it up into little scenes. It made it much easier for my note taking, that's for sure, as a YouTuber. But instead of you just trying to have to watch 95 fucking things happen at once, they kind of made it about different chapters. between guys and kind of put the dudes that are feuding like Wardlow and Hager and Proud and Powerful and FTR and Jericho and MJF and Sammy and Spears. So they kind of broke them up like that. I liked it. After we get the Pinnacle ambush and all the guys start brawling off onto their own, that leaves MJF, who jumped back in the limousine. He starts to creep out because he's been hiding, and Jericho's waiting for him behind the car. He attacks him. They start fighting. Now they start brawling all the way to the back, and then it starts getting nuts here. They start out in like a break room or a common area, and there's just all sorts of bottles and glass and vending machines and tables. MJF, at one point during the brawl, he gets Jericho down, and he picks up the phone, and he starts talking on the phone, and it made me think immediately of The Rock at Halftime Heat when he's fighting Mick Foley and he gets on the phone. So help me out. Does The Rock and MJF have any company? Do they have any company in this area, in this field? Are there any other? I've talked on the phone during a wrestling match, guys. I know we've had guys do commentary during matches, but anybody actually been on the phone? Maybe Paul Heyman, I suppose, from back in the day when he used to carry the phone. And maybe last year when they did the Money in the Bank at the headquarters. Maybe somebody did something there, but it's a short list of people who have talked on the phone during, or at least pretended to talk on the phone during a match. That was pretty funny, reminded me of The Rock. And then they wind up battling into the Jacksonville Jaguars, I guess, coaching room where Urban Meyer is sitting in there and another assistant coach or something, and they brawl through those guys. All of this, by the way, appears to be pre-taped, obviously. So they brawl by those guys, and then Jericho kicks MJF's ass and throws him out the door, and he looks at him and goes, "Have a good season, guys," and he kind of keeps going. That was great shit. We then cut to Jake Hager and Wardlow just beating the shit out of each other. They're like in a walk-in freezer. Hopefully it's a Christopher walk-in freezer. They're beating the hell out of each other in there, brawling, all through the hallways there. And then we cut to Sammy and Sean Spears after we watch Wardlow and Hager for a little while. We cut to Sammy first. He's walking through the walls. Where are you? Or walking through the halls. Where are you, Spears? Where are you? Looking for him. And then you hear this loud bang, and then Sean Spears is sitting in, I guess, the room that they keep the chairs in. The entire chair supply for the arena or whatever is in there. They're surrounded by chairs. Literally, he's sitting in the middle. They start to brawl, and they wind up spilling out into the hallway where you get some of those scissor lifts. I thought maybe one of them was to climb up there and take a bump. So they're brawling all over the arena, much like Wardlow and Hager are. Then we go, this is the best part, then we go to this club, this nightclub setting that they've set up back there to finish up the Proud and Powerful and FTR stuff. So Proud and Powerful find FTR in this club. There's people there drinking. There's a DJ. There's people dancing. It's got this neon lighting and these black lights, and fucking Tully Blanchard. Oh my God. My heart is aflutter at how he looked. Holy shit, he looked so ridiculously badass in the jeans and the bandana and the cutoff shirt. Oh my God, rock hard I was. Tully, you're the man. And then, as if they couldn't stimulate me enough, you cut over to the DJ, and it's Conan. That's awesome. So Conan is the DJ. This all comes to a realization here. They continue to brawl, and they're just beating each other to death in the club, smashing beer bottles over each other's heads, tossing each other over tables. They're all selling this wonderfully. Lots of blood, just brutal, brutal, brutal. Loved the little, this is the cool thing about AEW. They give you these little surprises. Who would have thought we'd see Conan there? And he'd be back. He'd get involved later on in that. He'd come and stop Tully from doing something. I think Tully was about to whack somebody, and Conan stops him. That was pretty cool. So after they brawl in the club for a little while, and Tully and Conan are there being awesome, we then cut back to Wardlow and Hager and Jericho and MJF. Jericho did something in they're brawling through the office area again there, and I didn't see what he did, but Jericho did something funny to the cutout of, I guess, Tony Khan's dad, who owns the Jags or whatever, said something to it or talked to it or something like that. So Jericho was pretty entertaining through a lot of this. He then would take a thank you note or a thank you post-it note or something and literally staple it right to MJF's head, and he screams like a little girl, much like I would if somebody stapled a piece of paper to my head. So MJF selling that was pretty damn funny. He then takes MJF and throws him right through this entire glass door. MJF is down, seemingly out, and that's the end of it. But he comes back, he recovers from this, he's busted open, bleeding pretty bad, and that's when they battle out into the arena. And this is where I assume that everything prior to this was taped and they brawl out live. So I don't know if they had to match the blood on MJF, or they if they put some blood on him to make it look like it did when they taped the shit backstage. That's what I think happened here. And then everybody kind of starts making their way into the arena. Proud and Powerful and FDR and Wardlow and Hager and Jericho and MJF, they all find themselves back into the arena. And then we get in the ring where Sammy Hager, Sammy Guevara, I don't know why I want to say Sammy Hager. Maybe I need to listen to some of him. No, I won't. But maybe I need to, since he seems to be on my mind. We get Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears are in the ring. And before they get there, I should mention the golf cart. That's right. So Sammy was able to get somebody else with the golf cart instead of being the victim of the golf cart like he was in the last one. So Spears, I think, is looking for him, and Sammy chases Spears with the golf cart into the arena, runs him over a little bit. He falls down, and then they brawl into the ring. So that's how they got in the ring. So Spears has got the chair. He's got it set up. He's ready to do a number on Sammy Guevara. He gets a near fall on Sammy first, and then Sammy is able to recover to nail Spears with the same chair that Shawn had set up for Sammy to kind of basically just bash his head through. Spears took a heck of a shot there. Sammy was able to nail him ridiculously hard. Big chair shot kind of in the corner, face first or head first into that. He falls backwards, and then Sammy hits an unbelievable 630 for the win. He hit that thing perfectly, and he hits Shawn Spears so hard. You could see the life literally come out of him, and that was the finish. Pinned him after the 630. Unbelievable finish there. Loved it. Really good stuff. And I just didn't see that specific finish coming. I thought it would be something involving MJF and Jericho or whatever. So the fact that they gave this to Sammy Guevara and gave him that moment, it's awesome. It's going to be a stock building victory for him, and that's great. And I think they put a lot of the right guys over tonight. They put a lot of their own guys over, like Sammy, like Jungle Boy. So like the Bucks. So I think that's all good. And this match, like the others, did exceed my expectations. I was a little bit worried about it. I knew they would try to be fun. I knew they would have the right idea. I was concerned about the execution. I was worried that maybe it's going to be really hard to pull this off with a live crowd, doing some taped, some live, because we heard that's how that was going to work. But I think it was pulled off marvelously. There have been times when AEW has shown their age a little bit with stuff like this, maybe failing in the execution a couple of times, even with stuff like the barbed wire explosion match and shit like this. And this was an incredibly complex match to put together with a live crowd now. You don't have the benefit of editing or anything like that. So when you're trying to do something in the same, nature of like a backlot brawl where you tape it ahead of time and then finish it in the ring, but doing that on a much larger level where you're now dealing with 10 or 11 guys with surprises and doing all this stuff and then still finish it live and have the same vibe and the same energy, that has got to be hard to pull off and can't be easy. And I think they did a great job here. They proved that, they can do stuff like this, despite some of their hiccups here or there. So all in all, I think that's something that's equally as impressive as the match itself and everybody kicking the shit out of each other, is that it was executed well, and it could have easily not been, because a match like this could be a clusterfuck. Matches like this are batshit nuts. And sometimes they have a tendency to go overboard or have like a little too much happening. And I think they kept it organized as best they could. And like I said, kind of branching everybody off into their own little separate stories, I think made the flow of the match good. You can cut back and forth between them instead of just having like kind of a wide shot of all these guys just fighting and you can't tell what the hell's going on. So I thought it was, it was really good. They did well, and execution was there. So what more do you want from them guys? You know what I'm saying? Y'all agree with that assessment on the match? What'd you think of it? What do you think the low light of the night was? Like, what was the worst match on the card? I think you guys are probably with me on the Cody one, but never know. Mike Witt, that's a question for y'all. I should have did a Twitter poll about that. I'd have to rewatch that match again. I loved last year's match. I think we were trying so hard to find things to find the good in. I'm like, okay, the pandemic sucks, but at least we can get some wacky-ass matches like this. What do y'all think? Last year's or this year's? No, Joseph Smith, that's not what happened at all. I can already tell what kind of idiot you are. We're going to go and get you out of here. You're a fool. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got to redo that. I'm sorry. You're Joseph Smith. You're not the fool. How do I undo that? I want to undo. I thought you were the same guy that gave me shit about saying something else. Oops. Well, Joseph Smith, I kind of temporarily blocked you for a minute, and I can't seem to undo it. Put you. No, I don't want to put you in timeout. My bad. But no, I was kind of assuming that was kind of in the same nature of as you hear from some of those fans. The Bucks put themselves over. That was the right call. The right call was to put the Bucks over in that situation. I would have. I don't think it's like the way you think it is. Miro and Archer, I thought that match exceeded expectations a little bit because did I talk about that match? Fuck. Did I skip it? Shit. Where the hell is it? I think I skipped that match, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Holy crap. Yeah, after Cody and Anthony Ogogo, I skipped over to Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker. How did John Cena, when he was the prototype, you know how he did that rewind thing? Can we do that and we can go backwards to the TNT title match and I can actually talk about Miro and Lance Archer? I am so sorry about that because I wanted to talk about Jake Roberts. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this. My God, the fucking flying snake. My God, what the hell's wrong with me? Anyway. Let's get into the best part of the fucking show. Miro versus Lance Archer. Somebody just said it was, I'll get to it, Zane. Sorry about that. Somebody just said it was the worst match of the night. I'm putting it up there with the best. John Tenta is looking down and smiling. Holy crap, what a match. Now, the thing starts out with kind of a replay of what went down yesterday at some fan event in the ring, and Miro came in there and took a shot at Jake Roberts, so he's kind of injured and not really around for this match, so Archer comes out to the ring first. Miro comes out next, and Archer goes full Ahmed Johnson on like this top rope dive, landing onto Miro, and really goes on the offensive early. So he winds up putting Miro through a table on the outside after the dive and after they're brawling, and really goes hard onto Miro trying to win this title. So they get in the ring now. They're having the match. It is better. I was worried that this was going to be like a roast beef versus a ham, and it was going to be more of a WWE style match and maybe a little bit hard to get into, but it was still good. Like, it was not bad at all. They go through the match a few minutes. I think it's about 6 or 7 minute match, whatever it is. Jake Roberts, this is the best part. Jake Roberts comes out and he's got the snake, or he's got the sack with him or whatever. So he comes out to try to distract Miro, and Miro winds up attacking him, pulls him in the ring. He's like gut punching him, and then he picks up the sack and then he fucking throws it down the entrance ramp, throws the snake. Oh my God, I died laughing. Now, hopefully PETA or anybody won't shit their pants because there's no snake in there, obviously. It's a working snake, just like it was when Earthquake squished it all those years ago. I thought maybe Miro was going to do something like that, where he was going to put it in his finisher or something, the snake, but he wound up throwing it up the ramp. And just the sight of this bag with a snake in it flying up the ramp, I just died laughing. That was the funniest fucking part of the whole thing. And Jake, I saw him on the Jericho Cruise, and he did a live show and kind of a podcast, and he told some stories about the snakes that I found utterly disgusting. Real stories about these snakes dying and stuff, and almost making light of it. And it was just kind of like, come on, Jake, So obviously there was no real snake in that bag, but just the vision and the visual of Miro chucking that thing like a shot put or like a frisbee. Oh my God, was absolutely incredible. But anyway, after the snake gets chucked, Miro's able to lock in the accolade on Lance, and they did the deal. They do this a lot in AEW, where he did not, and WWE too, where he didn't give up. He passed out, and referee had to call for the bell. So he basically beat Lance Archer into unconsciousness and retained the title. Again, not a big surprise there because Miro just won the belt. I'm not taking it off of him. As good as Archer is, I wouldn't be passing it to him right now. Let Miro run with it for a while, and I enjoyed that match too. Maybe in the ring, not the strongest of everything, but in terms of what what they gave us, it was fine. I was perfectly fine with it. So I cannot believe that I overlooked that. I am so sorry for not talking about that match earlier. My God. Oh yeah, sorry about that, Joe. Oh, good, you're back. I didn't permanently ban you. Sorry. I don't think I've ever banned anybody by accident before. there you are, Zane G. The $5. Is that the one from earlier? My apologies, but Sammy Hager. Oh my God. That was a dark match, Sammy Hager versus Eddie Van Halen. Not Van Hagar. I love that line in Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt's a great movie. I recommend it. Yeah, Cody's match. Yes, I'm looking at his. Joseph's going, huh? What I do? My bad. Well, is that what it was, Pete F? I've never heard the story about what was in the bag. I'm surprised it's hamburger meat. Because I don't think it didn't make any. It didn't gush, or it didn't make didn't get all bloody or anything when he squashed it. It just nothing happened. Um, because whatever, there's been different versions that come out. The one that I saw on my local TV, there was no like red X. I saw Earthquake squashing it with his ass. So I don't think they put any like ketchup. I don't think they tried to make it gory. I'm surprised. It might have been hamburger meat, but it could have been. You could put anything in there. You could put, I don't know, like not a water balloon, but what's something like that? Something squishy. That's all all you have to do. I don't even know who would win that. Wait, David Lee Roth didn't die, right? They're alive. He's alive, right? Him and Hager are both still here, right? Hager, I know, is because he was on AEW not long ago. Alexander Fitzgerald, I'm going to have to watch the show. I saw some highlights, and it looked like a good show. It was. It's a shame you couldn't watch it live. Like, that was the experience. It was just like you could just feel it. It was just in the air watching it and watching the fans be so jacked and them getting off to the right foot. And they really, really were kind of hitting on all cylinders here, which was awesome. So just the experience of it was quite nice to kind of say, okay, here's our first big taste of getting back to normal. Not quite there yet. Still got some Daily's Place dynamites, and WWE, assumingly is going to be in the Thunderdome here until mid-July, unless they watched what AEW did tonight and said, no, we want to come in there a little bit earlier. So barring anything like that, we still have some time before it fully hits, but I think by the end of the summer, Labor Day, fall, winter, that sort of thing, hopefully, we're back. I'm taking a trip this year. I'm going to North Carolina on the East Coast here in the summer to visit friends. So I'm back into traveling and trying to get back in the swing of things. And like I said, depending on what kind of an announcement we get on SummerSlam coming up next Saturday, I think it is, or August 5th, whenever that is, hopefully it'll be Vegas or LA, and I'll be there too, because it looked like it was a hoot. And then as far as what Jim Cornette thinks of Double or Nothing, I don't care what Jim Cornette thinks about Double or Nothing. Don't care at all. Let me guess. He's going to shit on it. And he's going to use all his catchphrases, his Kenny Olivier's and his mud shows, and says all those little buzzwords that gets the people like that type of stuff, gets their little 2-inch dicks rock hard. So he'll say all that. None of them make any sense. He'll just complain about how the whole thing sucked. It was fantastic, and the wrestling fans enjoyed themselves. So suck it. Suck it, Cornette. Even though I like Cornette, I just think he's an idiot when it comes to that stuff. Nah, it won't be the TBS title. Cody did say they're going to keep it as the TNT, which is fine. I'd rather them not rebrand it every time they switch networks, and TNT does work with the Dynamite thing, but I always questioned the name to begin with, Anybody know what we got on tap for tomorrow's Raw? I don't think it's going to be anything very good. I missed last week, and I'm proud to say I meant to watch the Xavier Woods and Riddle match. I still haven't. But I'm still yet to see one single second of last week's Raw, and it just feels so ridiculously good that I think I'm just going to take y'all's word for it. Xavier and Riddle kicked ass, and that's it. I just don't want to watch it. But tomorrow, I'm going to be back watching it. We'll be up here after the show to review it, that sort of thing. And then Tuesday morning, I should have a pretty fun episode for you as well. Searching around Twitter. Oh, yeah, thanks for that. I don't know. I had a tweet yesterday that went somewhat viral. 2,500 likes on it or something like that, where I was like, when Tony Khan cut that promo, when he was bitching about the WWE New Japan rumors, and he was kind of putting it to bed. I mean, he just got so much like hate for that. I'm like, this is so funny to me. It's so hilarious. Like, they're having a good time. Like, let him cut this promo. He looks like a complete dork, and I love everything about it. Everything about what he said was just hilarious to me. Nia Jax puts the video up of her squashing Britt Baker. Triple H calls him a pissant company. Bucks mock the Shield. It's all in good fun. Nobody's relying on it. Nobody's using it as a crutch. It's not their identity. It's just fun. And the fans just have such a ridiculous stick up their ass about everything. And there's no fun. Like, what kind of shitty lives do they live that, like, everything pisses them off? You know, like, what kind of life, what kind of existence? What's your day? What is your days like? You know, is every day just a miserable fucking experience for you? Because that's the way it seems with everything. Oh, there's always some killjoy. You know, this has got to come in there with some like ridiculous comment. Oh, they're fucking stupid. I don't like them. I'm sorry that you're miserable in your life, but I'm not. I enjoy both companies. I think they both, you know, have things to offer, and they provide us alternatives to each other, and we are in desperate need of that with how much control WWE and Vince has over everything. The fact that we can actually have another North American company here that can give us a different look at professional wrestling, something other than what we see, and that doesn't look so similar, I think is nothing but a good thing. So if I think if people like that or Cornette or whoever, you know, if they really feel so strongly that they don't want AEW to succeed, I don't even know how you can even call yourself a wrestling fan. Because what else do you want? Fine, you don't like AEW, then let's just imagine there's another company instead that probably has all of these same wrestlers. You know, like, it's just, no matter what name you put on it, you need somebody else there. And if it was a different company and it wasn't AEW, all the same wrestlers that you see right now, the Omegas and the Bucks and probably a lot of other guys, if it's a different company with a different billionaire in charge, they're all there. They're all doing the same thing. And they're, you know, with as young as AEW is, man, they're hitting some home runs on these pay-per-views. They only got 4 months into their run or 5 months into the run before the pandemic hit. You know, they've been able to really, you know, be this solid. I see way more positives in their growths than negatives. I see mistakes. I see missteps here or there. But shit, man, you know, for somebody as young as they are, they're doing fine. So just to root against them, just to be a sniveling prick, or just because you don't have anything better to do than read social media and watch what other people say, and that annoys you, which then in turn makes you want to root for the failure just so you control them. That's like not a way to live. I don't recommend that. So don't do that. Don't do that. That's stupid. It's like the dumbest thing you can fucking do. Literally. Oh, I lost my feed. There we go. Marcus Metcalf, thanks for the $2. Good to see you. Which women's match was the best tonight? Good question. Obviously, Britt Baker winning the title for me was, if you're just judging at the moment, that's the match I liked the best, I should say. But Serena Deeb and Riho kicked ass on that kickoff, and that crowd helped. So I don't know. You guys can judge the in-ring match. Maybe some people would give the nod to Serena and Riho. That's fair enough. But in terms of just which match I like better, I was ready for them to pull the trigger on Britt Baker. So that one sticks out with me. A couple of really good near falls in that match too, where they had me kind of second guessing my prediction a couple of times. And when you cap it off with her giving the hug to Shivani, you know, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. But Riho and Serena, man, they rocked it out on that buy-in, man. It's hard for me to enjoy WWE too. I ain't gonna lie, man. But the pay-per-views still come through. They still have great talent there. They can succeed despite the bullshit they have to put up with. And, you know, their TV is garbage, you know, but they've got some bright spots. I think Roman Reigns is awesome. I like Bobby Lashley as champion. There's great talent there. So much ridiculously good talent between your Owens and your Sami Zayns and your AJs and your Ballers and your Karrion Crosses and your Drews and Ortons. And, you know, they're all there. It's just, it's fucking nonsense, man, especially Monday Night Raw. If it was up to me, I'd just cancel Raw until July 16th or that following weekend. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that, Zane. Appreciate 5 more. Are you going to peep out the WWE bio for tonight? It's Mick Foley. There's a ton of shit to watch because the A&E bio on Mick Foley, I think, is this one. And Godfather was on Broken Skull Sessions today, or they released it today, I believe. So that's available too. And that one's going to be really interesting. I'm not sure which one I'm going to watch first. I probably won't check out Mick Foley tonight. That'll probably be tomorrow night or even Tuesday night. But I'll have comments for you. Yeah, I probably won't have comments for you tomorrow night on that for Raw because I probably won't get a chance to see it. But I might be able to see some of The Godfather. It's possible. It's good. They're both going to be pretty good. I'm excited for the Mick Foley one. Yeah, Hangman, I just feel like has got to be the guy. When you think about Kenny and who in the future is going to take it off of him, I think it should be Hangman Page. It should. You know, you started out with Jericho and Moxley, you know, WWE guys with a name and shit like that and a reputation, and then you pass the buck, so to speak, to the AEW dudes, and then you can do Kenny, and then you can do Page, because I think the sequence of champions, the next two, are going to be Hangman after Omega and MJF after Hangman, which could still be a year away, but I think that MJF will beat the next babyface that holds the title, 100%. Yeah, I think the story's going to be fire. There's so much there too. I mean, the story goes way back. I watched them win the titles on the cruise. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier in the podcast when we were going through my next sequence of champions. I would do, Kenny dropping the belt to Hangman, Hangman dropping it to MJF, MJF dropping it to Cody, with Cody getting his, some that stipulation lifted, winning the title, and then Cody having a rematch with Anthony Ogogo, and Ogogo just annihilates him and beats him the way Brock Lesnar beat John Cena at SummerSlam 2014. That's what I'd do if I can book 2 years ahead of time. That would be the way I'd do it. That's the way I'd play her, is give that belt to old Ogogo after Mr. America beat him tonight, which sucked. Mr. America, fuck yeah. Yeah, and you gotta keep Darby Allen in the discussion too. I think I've always said I feel like he's much more like Jeff Hardy than Sting. And they put the belt on Jeff Hardy, so Darby did a good job carrying the TNT title. So you might be right, Marcus. Yeah, thanks for $2 too, because he's a guy that's just got a huge following. He did a great job in those main events. They were pulling in pretty decent ratings with Darby in that spot, defending the title every week. But unfortunately, just things caught up to him. But Darby's another guy where you can't sit around and wait too long on him either, because with his style, he's so fucking small, and you just think eventually he's going to get injured. But it would be a lot like Jeff Hardy winning or Rey Mysterio winning in WWE. It would be a big moment, but it has to be kind of timed right, and you have to put it in the right situation. And I can see Darby winning in the same way, like in a 3-way, like tonight. Like put Darby in the place of a Cassidy, and have him go over in that situation and win the title, and kind of be a shock, but also very cool at the same time. Same way Ray won it. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can put him on the list, but if you're going to talk about Darby, then I also think you have to talk about Sammy Guevara, who stood tall tonight. He was, he was the MVP of the match and got the fall, and closed out the show with the victory with his faction. So there's lots of guys that you can think of that aren't former WWE guys that are all in the talks, in the discussion for being able to climb up the rankings and actually get title shots here. And all these guys should be included. Jungle Boy too. He's going to get a title shot in a couple of weeks. And Sammy Guevara and Darby and Hangman Page and MJF. These are all guys that have no connections to WWE, and I think they all have a chance to see that championship in the future if they remain with AEW for the long term. But they've got options. They got a lot of good guys there. Okay, Blaster Kid's drunk. Good for you. I'm trying to take it easy. I'm just nursing the Stella here. I got some editing and some work to do tonight, so I'm not going to go too hard. Yeah, Christian could maybe be a transitional champion. You have to think that he would probably grab the belt at some point. I mentioned that the reason I picked him in the Battle Royals because I thought he would be a good opponent for Kenny on TV to beat. Just a good, veteran, like a Hall of Fame wrestler, former world champion, long career in New York type of thing. And for Christian to beat him on Dynamite, or for Omega to beat him on Dynamite, I thought it would just be a good, solid victory. I think the match would be great between the two, between Christian and Omega. It would be a lot of fun. And then Christian can put over the champ, and it would just be a good outing. But instead, he put over kind of Jungle Boy here, and Jungle Boy can wind up putting over Kenny Omega. But either way, Christian, was gave a rub to somebody, and he did that tonight with Jungle. Yeah, and I think he'll get there. I think he'll probably get to, a title shot or something, and then all the fans, all they do is put the title in next WWE guys. But yeah, maybe something transitional, in between putting the belt back on a heel or something like that. Maybe Cody being the one to beat Christian or something. I don't know. Might be kind of interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Hmm. Yeah, I think that speaks for everybody here. That just after we saw what they did tonight You just want fans back now. We got to just continue to be a little bit patient, like we're almost there. But now, I mean, after what I saw tonight, the last thing in the world I want to do is flip on USA Network and watch 3 hours of Thunderdome tomorrow. I don't want to do that. Hell no. I'd rather do anything like that. I'd rather saw my own eyebrows off. Fuck, like I just no. I don't want that. But we have to. We had to deal with it for a few more weeks, and then it'll be back to business. Hopefully. Yeah, Jericho and Christian could do something in the future. I thought if Inner Circle lost here that maybe Jericho would take some time off. Now I don't know what the future is of the Inner Circle. It's cool to see them still together. They'll probably have a victory celebration now on Dynamite. I think now that they've won, we got to have some sort of a blow-off, you would think, correct? Like either MJF and Jericho, some one-on-one crazy match between the two, or maybe Jericho puts him over or something for the final time. Otherwise, I don't know what else you can really do with these two factions. You've already had Blood and Guts and a Stadium Stampede. These are things that should be feud-ending matches, not feud-starting matches. So what do you do to top either one of those? You might not even do another match now with Pinnacle and an Inner Circle. Maybe it'll just be, the little individual pockets feuding with each other. Maybe Sammy and Spears will have a match, and Hager and Jake Wardlow and Jake, shit like that. And that could lead to whatever they do with MJF and Jericho. All right, JJ Leg, that's right. It is almost 1 a.m. on the East Coast, so I'm not going to be far behind you. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, too. It's probably a good idea to do that because the show ran long. I mean, it it didn't start until 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and then it was about a 4-hour show. So, yeah, I think we went live right at 9 o'clock my time, or right at midnight on the East Coast. So that's super late for y'all. Luckily, hopefully nobody's got work in the morning since it is a holiday. But yeah, it went late, and I think that was probably understood too. Like, luckily, it's not a weekend where most people have to stay up late and watch this and get up and go to their Monday job. Most people hopefully will be off tomorrow, so that might be another reason why it did run a little bit on the late side. But yeah, it also felt good to kind of have a long pay-per-view because I feel like pay-per-views have kind of been slightly shortened during the pandemic because, there's just no reason to have like a long show. So this felt like we were kind of back to normal. We had a full card. We had like a 10-match card if you include the buy-in, I believe. And you had a 4-hour show. You had a packed house. It felt good. Ready to see that from WWE. Hopefully Money in the Bank is awesome. Hopefully SummerSlam is awesome. And we're going to have a big crowd and just a lot of fun. Ready to have some fun up in here. Jesus. All right, Zane, see you tomorrow for Raw. Aren't y'all excited? It's almost time to watch Raw. I'm excited. Smash that thumbs up button on the way out if y'all don't mind. I'd appreciate it. Hey, Spectre, appreciate the $5 from you. Hey, Greg, just hopped in. What did you think tonight? I love the show, so thankful I stopped watching WWE and enjoy wrestling again. Well, I just got done putting the whole show over here for the past at least hour. How long have we been going? About an hour and 45 right now. So we'll see if there's enough engagement here in the chat for the next 15. I'll hang out for 15 more. Otherwise, we'll probably bail out of here soon. But yeah, I loved the show. I thought it was great from mostly top to bottom. And I think what really, really helped was the fans. Really you really appreciate the fan interaction and reaction and experience, just them being there and being a part of the show. We've now realized how truly vital they are just to wrestling's survival in general, because the Thunderdome helped when they built that monstrosity, but you can only stomach so much of that before it's just you just feel like you're living in a simulation, and I don't like it. So I'm ready to get back to reality, and tonight gave us that. Tomorrow will not on Monday Night Raw, but we'll get it back soon. WWE will be hitting the road. Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, all that good stuff. We'll be back. Replace Raw with NXT in a couple years as a flagship show. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, just internally, it feels like there's two little, like they're both in WWE, but NXT just has a little bit better of a philosophy. They spend a little bit more time, in development and storylines and ideas and booking and all that stuff. It's just, it's held with a little bit more concern there. Like they want to make sure they do make the right thing. They do the right decision. I don't think they give a shit what they do on Raw and SmackDown. I'll just put these guys in the ring tonight. Who cares? Just write some shit. Like that's it. They don't say, ooh, what'd be cool is if we did this. They're like, oh, fuck, we got to book Raw. Okay, let's put fucking Ricochet in there with him. We'll put Street Profits with them. And then, it's like, it's an inconvenience. It's a nuisance. They got to write TV. Where NXT, it feels like there's just, they try things. They try to roll with stuff. If they see something not working, they change it and shit like that, where they just, and they protect people, like every great NXT champion they've had has gone to the main roster and largely suffered. But while NXT, they were treated like champions. There was long-term implications in play in terms of their thinking and their booking decisions and stuff like that. And when you're just thinking of on the fly every single day, every single show, you're just jotting down, throwing it out there, print it, go with it. It just doesn't have the love. It just doesn't have the, the love that it needs. It sucks. NXT has that. But if you move NXT to Monday Night Raw, then it's just going to become Monday Night Raw. Just with the, because that's the thing. You can take all that NXT talent. We've seen it. You put them on the main roster. What happens? They're shit. So fine, let's take all the NXT talent right now, put them on Raw. If you produce Raw the same way, doesn't matter the talent. Doesn't matter how good the talent is. Show's going to suck. They've proven that. The talent is phenomenal on Monday Night Raw. The talent is great all across WWE. But the TV ratings don't reflect that. Fan reaction does not reflect that. We largely shit on them, and we shouldn't. They got all the talent in the world. Only a company like WWE can fuck that up. Only them. And that's why NXT is just that one glimmer, that one diamond in the rough of WWE. I'm like, well, at least we have that largely, while NXT has had its ups and downs, and the network and the move to the USA and that stuff type of stuff is, changed a few things, but for the most part, they operate on all cylinders and are pretty good. Even when they're bad, they're kind of good. They still have the right ideas. Just a lot of the talent is developmental, and they're trying the best to get these guys over. So, largely, it's their only part of WWE that feels like anything's going right in. Everything else is just a fucking mess, man. They should just scrap Raw altogether. Well, I don't want that either. I mean, Raw is a big part of my memory. I go way back. I used to watch primetime wrestling every week. It was my favorite show. I loved Saturday night's main event the most, but you didn't get that every week. You only got that like monthly or semi-monthly. But primetime was where it's at. Watching Gorilla and watching Bobby, that was the precursor to Raw. And a lot of time, they kind of swapped sometimes. Some years, primetime aired on Sundays, some on Mondays, but it was really what would become Monday Night Raw, because when Raw started, primetime was on Mondays. So for that to then start, I feel like I've had, 35 years of watching television, watching wrestling on Monday nights. I don't want that to end. It's been great. I like that tradition. I would just like it to be better. Canceling Raw or scrapping Raw altogether, I'd rather have them just not be stupid than do that. That seems drastic. Like if I'm WWE and I'm like, we either need to cancel the show altogether because we suck, or we can just stop sucking, I would choose stop sucking. I don't know why WWE can't choose that. Imagine Cross versus Demon Balor. I'd love to see that. I think Balor's heading back to the main roster, which would be awesome. Although they might fuck him up too. But I think it was a good little break for him to go there, and now he can come back. And there's been talk about maybe chucking Ricochet and Ali down in NXT, which I would be immensely for and very much in support of if they would just do that, because now these guys can be there and mean something. And their matches can actually be good, and we would care. And it's not like, even if Ricochet and Ali get in the ring now, I don't care. I don't care, because WWE doesn't care. So if I don't care, or they don't care, why should I, type of thing. So you put them in NXT, it might be a whole different story. Might start caring. I hope so. Yeah, it's everything. Mary's right. Every week is the same old thing. It's just a rehash. It's very formulaic. It's just copy and paste. Do this. Somebody cuts a promo. Somebody interrupts. Commercial break. Tag match. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And my biggest pet peeve is how they show they show so many recaps, way more than we need. An hour of 3-hour Raws are recaps, and they will show us a recap of a situation or storyline between two pieces of talent, and then after the recap, we cut to something backstage to where these two pieces of talent kind of spontaneously bump into each other. I'm like, well, that doesn't make it look very real when you just showed us this huge recap between the two, and then they just happen to have a brawl or they happen to cross paths backstage, when it's supposed to, and it doesn't even suspend disbelief. It expels disbelief. It's ridiculous. So everything is the same. You can see it coming, even in the commentary style, even the way the announcers speak. You can tell, like when Michael Cole is talking, you can tell 10 or 15 seconds before a commercial break that we're going to get a commercial break just by the tone of his voice, what he's saying. Two wrestlers spill out to the floor. What's good? You can just tell just the way they do it. Like everything is just they're just one big, large computer, and they just don't have the realism, the individuality, the creativity. All that stuff is just completely been stripped of what they do now. And it's just fucking frustrating, man. Frustrating. Yeah, we'll see when it finally does fall in the hands of Triple H and Stephanie. We'll see like how good, much better things can be. At the end of the day, they're still going to have a shit ton of TV to produce every week, and you're still going to have parts of WWE. You think Vince hasn't spent his whole entire career molding and building, the people in his company to kind of think like him and stuff. So, I think when he goes, things might be a little better, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be very WWE-ish. It's just what they love to fucking do, man. They love this. Oh, God, they're such a mess. You Watt M8, thanks again for $5 more from you. In my opinion, 3 hours of a weekly main wrestling show is too long. In my opinion, you're right. But just the nature of the business now, too much money involved. These networks want this content, and they pay for it, and that's why Raw is such a huge amount of filler, because you've got to have 10,000 recaps, and you have to have shit that just is completely pointless. That's backstage interviews and backstage segments that you don't even need, that don't do anything to tell a story or further any issue or do anything. They serve no purpose other than simply killing time, and that's it. And that's what we get with a 3-hour Raw. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think that is going to be it for us. I think I'm going to bail out of here now, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight on this Double or Nothing review. It was definitely a good show. Everything about tonight, just to me, reeked of positivity. It was just so nice to experience this show, to watch it with a full audience, a full card. Everything was great. They hit a home run, I feel like, and it was all in all a great outing for AEW. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for everything. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you have not yet already. And catch me tomorrow, immediately following Raw. We'll be up here to talk about whatever we see tomorrow on 3 hours of Thunderdome. You guys have a good rest of your night.